My name is Prophetess Roz, and you may know me from God and Everything. I am recently a consultant for paparazzi jewelry, and I am here to tell you a little bit about it. Our jewelry is $5. Yes, that's right, only $5, and it is nickel-free and lead-free. And you can go to my website at www.rosiesritzijewels.com to purchase the beautiful pieces. Again, that's www.rosiesritzijewels.com for the beautiful pieces.
The views expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views of KAZ Radio Television Network or its sponsors. Well, it's around that time right here on KAZ Radio where we have one of the most prolific prophetess in all the land, none other than my friend and yours, Prophetess Rosalyn Aitkinson. How you doing, Prophetess?
I'm doing well, and you, sir?
I'm blessed.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today to God and Everything. We are so appreciative of you, our faithful viewers and listeners. I want to ask that you would share the broadcast. I want to ask that you would invite a friend, invite a loved one to come on along and go on this journey with us today as we we're going to talk about all month long domestic violence, and it affects on everyone. Because it affects everyone. It just doesn't affect the woman or the man who is being abused, but it ultimately affects the community, affects folks at job, it affects the church. So we're going to talk about that today. But before we get started, I want you to help me welcome my beautiful, capable, anointed co-host, Pastor Gail Matthews. Hey, Pastor, how you doing, Gail?
Hello there. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful.
That's
and aren't
good.
you looking good in your purple today? You know, purple is the color for Domestic Awareness Month. I don't have a lot of purple in my closet, but I'm going to get some.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to wear some purple paparazzi jewelry. There you go. Look at that beautiful piece.
That's pretty.
Very pretty. So as you all know, that I am a recent paparazzi independent consultant, and I'm going to ask that you would go to my website, www.rosiesritzijewels, and purchase some pieces. They're only $5, and yes, that is $5. That's right. They're all nickel and lead free, and so a part of that money, that revenue, goes to help and support God and Everything, and to keep us on the air, speaking the truth, speaking strength, speaking encouragement, inspiring those of you who are listening and those of you who are viewing. So I'm going to ask that you go and purchase a piece of jewelry, and they are beautiful pieces. I have on the bracelet, as well as the necklace. I have the earrings. Everything is paparazzi today.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
blinging. I got on my bling
Yes.
earrings, my bling single stone. I'm doing the paparazzi thing today, okay?
Leave it all with me.
Yeah. And so, again, go and purchase some of the jewelry for us. Invite a friend, invite a loved one. Invite someone that you know that is dealing with domestic violence.
Yes.
Invite someone that you know that has dealt with domestic violence. Invite the children of those that are in domestic abuse relationships. Everyone needs to hear this, and if you are a loved one or friend, you need to hear today's broadcast. You know, just a little history. October is the National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. This month began in 1981 by the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence as a day of unity to connect battered women's advocates across the country. Please understand that domestic violence affects millions, both women and men, of every race, religion, culture, and status. It's not just punches and black eyes. It's yelling, humiliation, stalking, manipulation, coercion, threats, and isolation. It's stealing a paycheck. It's keeping tabs on you online.
Yes.
It's nonstop texting. It's constant constant use of the silent treatment,
Yes.
or calling someone stupid so often that they believe it. Since the Violence Against Women Act passed in 1994, we've come a long way. Oh, wait a minute. No, I didn't switch them. We've come a long way. This landmark legislation, led by then Senator Joe Biden, that's something that I didn't know, combined with new provisions that hold offenders accountable and provide programs and services for victims. Between 1993 and 2010, the overall rate of domestic violence dropped nearly 2/3, and state laws have reformed to address issues such as dating abuse in the workplace, stalking, employment discrimination, and so much more. Listen at this. Nearly 3 out of 4 Americans personally know someone who is or has been a victim of domestic violence. Now it's time to take a stand and support domestic violence survivors.
Absolutely.
Isn't that amazing?
It is amazing.
You know, they say 4 out of 10 women has been abused or is being abused. So I always look at that. When I'm ever in a gathering of more than 10 women,
Yes.
I begin to count.
One.
Because I'm definitely one of those
Yes.
women. And today on the show, I have not done this as long as we've been on the air. You've heard me give, little inserts about my situation, but today we're going to talk about me,
Yes.
Rosalyn Marie Atkinson, who was an unloved wife. I penned 24 years of domestic abuse in my book entitled The Unloved Wife, where you can order your copy on my website, my ministry website, www.propheticvoiceministries.org. You can purchase it. It's only $15, and you include your shipping, and we will put it in the mail to you. You know, Pastor Gail, I was telling someone just on my way here that one of the main things that I tried to do in the book was cover my childhood, because I wanted to show and I wanted to try to pen and articulate the best way I knew how, was to show the readers that I chose my father subconsciously.
Yeah.
I did not want my father, although I loved the ground my father stood
I
on.
understood. I understand.
My father was an absolutely wonderful man to his daughters, but he was not wonderful to my mother. And as a young girl, I remember seeing the abuse. You know, you see it, even though, you know, we as women, we tried to hide, and even with me and my own 3 sons, I tried to cover, and every time I say that, I throw my hands out because I thought that's what I was doing, spreading my wings to cover them from seeing, you know, the ridiculousness that I had to endure.
Yes.
And my oldest son said to me a couple years ago, he said, Mom, he said, you did a good job covering, but you couldn't cover everything.
That's good.
You know, because you don't.
Yeah,
You don't
that's
cover
right.
everything. I don't care
That's
how
right.
much you try, how hard you try, how hard you pray, all of that. And one of the things that I find very, very interesting is that we as the church, we don't deal with domestic abuse.
Yes.
And it's happening in churches around the country and really around the world. You know, if 3 out of 4 Americans know someone personally, let's just check in on America, then someone in your congregation is being abused. It's as simple as that.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, I could spot it in Mississippi because I know the signs. I was her.
Yes.
I was the unloved wife. I was the one coming to church on Sunday. I was the one paying my tithes and giving an offering. I was the one that was leading the prayer service. I was the one that was saying amen and shouting and clapping and all of the things that we do in terms of church attendance and participation. But yet I was leaving out of there, going back to an abusive situation. I was coming from one, and then I was going back to one. And that is the reality of so many people. Since I've published my book, I've had ministers, ministers' wives. I've had first ladies.
Yes.
I've had women that are co-pastoring with their husbands say to me, I am an unloved wife.
Yes.
I am the one that will keep that to the day I die. It is not, you don't have enough money or enough influence to get that kind of information out of me.
Yes.
I know how to keep your secret, but yet I know how to minister to you.
Right.
You know, I had one woman tell me, if I divorce him, I'm going to have to leave my church. It's nothing that I can say about that, you know, but pray.
Exactly.
Because people stay in a situation for all sorts of reasons. I've had women say, I don't know, how could she? I've had people say, oh, it couldn't be that bad, they still there.
They're still there.
You are a woman
Right.
that has not been abused. You don't know how bad it is.
Exactly.
Because people say for all kind of reasons. I had to come to the conclusion, I was saying to myself, oh, you staying because the boys need their father, and that was part of it.
Right.
But that was not all of it.
Exactly. Because as you're being abused, they're being abused also.
Being abused as well.
And I think we need to prophetess define abuse.
Yes.
Because people are saying, you know, well, he goes to work, he does this, he goes to work and he's taking care of his family, he goes to church, all that stuff. But I love what Bishop Jake said many years ago. He says that abuse is abnormal use.
Oh my.
God has a design for how we are to treat one another,
Yes.
how we're to be treated in a marital relationship, and anything that deviates from God's design is outside of the normal use, and it becomes abnormal.
That's
so
really
it then becomes abuse.
Yes.
And so domestic, when we're talking about abuse in the home and abuse in a marital relationship and abuse in a relationship between man and woman, and boyfriend and girlfriend or whatever, when we start talking about that, anything that goes outside of the realm of how we should treat people and how we should treat one another, and what the old folks would say, love is what love does.
Yes, absolutely.
So don't tell me you love me and then you are treating me outside of the realm of what is acceptable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's real good. And I say it all the time. Love is as love does. The Bible says, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. That is
Yes.
wonderful in and of itself. But if all God did was love us and did not give Jesus for us, that would be dead and nullified.
Mm-hmm.
Because love is as love does.
Absolutely.
Loving us is wonderful. And he can love us all day long, all year long, all month long, whatever the case may be. But if he did not sin, give. Because love is giving.
Yes.
Love is giving. You cannot love me without giving yourself for me. You
Yes.
cannot love me without giving time
Yes.
to me, giving me your attention, giving me your support, giving me your loyalty, giving me your faithfulness. You don't love me.
Absolutely.
Anybody can say it.
Right.
Was my mama always taught me, action speaks louder
Absolutely.
than words.
Absolutely.
And so if someone is saying, I love you in one hand, and on the other hand, they are violating you on any level, speaking down to you, trying to control you, trying to manipulate you, that is not love. Please don't get it twisted. We're going to call it something else, but
Right.
we're certainly not going to call it
Exactly.
love. Now, you said something about abuse. Now, here in my research, it says some of the signs of an abusive relationships include these things. But what it said was, prior to this, is that domestic violence looked different in every relationship because every relationship is different.
Yes.
But one thing most abusive relationships have in common is that the abusive partner does many different kinds of things to have more power and control over the partner, okay?
Yes.
So here is some signs. They tell you that you can never do anything right, shows extreme jealousy of your friends and time spent away. That ain't love. Oh, he just don't, He just don't want me to go nowhere. He just want to be up under me all the time. That is unhealthy.
Yes.
That is not love. He does not want you to be up under him all the time. He wants to control you.
Exactly.
Keeps you or discourage you from seeing friends or family members. He isolates you from the people that love you. You can't go to your mama house. You can't visit your sister no more. You can't go to the mall with your girlfriend. That is abuse.
Not love.
He insults, he demeans, let's get it twisted.
Yes.
Insults, demeans, or shames you with put downs. You can't never do nothing right. I will never forget, there was a couple years and years ago that I knew that this woman, she cleaned that house from top to bottom, Pastor Gary. I'm telling you, you could eat on the floor. This is the kind of house she kept. She had 2 small children that were 11 months apart. She was a stay-at-home mom, but she kept an immaculate house with these 2 small children running around. And she had cleaned the house from top to bottom. She had cooked her husband's favorite meal. And you know what she said to me? He came home and he looked around and he put on a white glove and went across the furniture. Our engineer is looking like, what in the world? Went across window seals and all of this and came up with some dirt and told her she missed the spot. Yeah, that's abuse.
That is
all
abuse.
day. Because see,
abuse.
here's the thing. When someone wants to control you, you're never good enough. I don't care. Sexually, you can swing from the chandeliers. You can do everything that person demands, commands, requests. And it will still not be enough. They will still find a way to find your imperfections.
Right.
Okay, so continuing on. He controls every penny spent in the household. Hello. Takes your money or refuses to give you money for necessary expenses. Looks at you or acts in ways that scare you. Controls who you see, where you go, or what you do. Prevents you from making your own decisions. Tells you that you are a bad parent or threatens to harm or take away your children, prevents you from working or attending school, destroys your property or threatens to hurt or kill your pets, intimidates you with guns, knives, or other weapons, pressures you to have sex when you don't want to or to do things sexually you're not comfortable with, pressures you to use drugs and or alcohol.
Yes.
Abuse.
That's abuse.
If you are dealing with any one of the 4 mentions, you are in an abusive relationship. You can't love them enough. You can't even pray for them enough.
No, you can't.
Because see, people have to make their own decisions that they are not going to be an abuser. Yes. They have to make, and a lot of times people just mimic what they grew up with and what they saw.
Yes.
Or the lack thereof.
Yes.
And then they go and they, perpetuate that same behavior on the people that they claim that they love.
Right.
And so as I penned in The Unloved Wife, I did not want to choose my father. I'm telling you, God knows I love my daddy, but I did not want him as a husband. And so for me, I dated my childhood sweetheart. And I ain't crazy. I knew what I wanted as a young girl. And he did not show any of the abusive behavior. Now, when I look back at that, I was thinking about that coming here. And I was thinking, yeah, you had some signs. What came back to me, which I forgot, and probably because I passed the school. I went to, when I graduated high school, I went to the Medical and Dental, Cleveland Institute of Medical and Dental Assistants.
Okay.
And I remember us having an argument and him coming to the school, and we're in the elevator, and I said to him, that's why the clothes that you left at my house, I put them on a tree line. And he smacked the taste out my mouth. Yeah, he did.
You forgot.
Yeah.
You forgot.
Yeah.
You should have kept that on the forefront.
Yeah,
that should have been on the front burner.
Literally, my head did one of the Flintstones moves, one of the cartoon moves. And I was about 17, 18, because I graduated from high school when I turned 17. I turned 17 in April, and I graduated from high school in June, I stayed out of school for a whole year, so I was probably about 18 or 19 when he smacked me. Yeah.
See,
I
love
remember
covers.
when I broke up with him, and I started dating this guy, and he began to stalk us. See, you see
Those
what
were
I'm saying?
seeds.
Oh, yes.
Those were
yes.
the seeds.
Yeah.
But love covers. And that's the thing that happens with so many women that are being abused, prophetess, and we know it so well, is that you keep saying, well, I forgive, and you don't even have to say it, you live it.
Yes,
you
you
live
do.
the forgiveness because you live in these hopes.
Yeah.
And hope is good, Jesse said keep hope alive, and that's good, and all of that. But you also got to be realistic.
There you go.
So many of our single sisters are so idealistic.
Yes.
And I know where it's coming from. It's coming from the TV. It's coming from everything you watch. I mean, it's some fantastic shows out there. The storylines but then all the romance in it. I mean, why we gotta have romance in everything? And the romance is just, it's not even realistic. And people are out here thinking that, life is like, I never forget the day I stopped watching Empire, and every now and then it may come across my screen, but I never forget the day I was watching Empire, and they had put Gabourey in Sidibe in a love scene. And with this guy, and I said, now I've been a plus size girl all my life. I said, okay, y'all need to stop now, because ain't none of this reality. All this what y'all doing, y'all done went and got this bustier and put on her and all this stuff. Now I know the real. Okay, this is not the real. Okay, I never forget one time a friend of mine said years ago something very eye opening to me, because somebody had said something to me that was just so flattering, and she said, they lying. But here's I wanted to deal in the ideal. I want to deal in the ideal. And she said, they lying. But we need to tell ourselves that. We need to tell ourselves that. I always make this thing. Just like I love Blair Underwood till he played that role in Medea's Family Reunion, and he was knocking and beating on that girl.
I've always loved it.
All right, but I can't right now. But here's the thing: if somebody like that, I teach women have a good self-esteem.
Yes.
I believe in it, but we also have to be realistic.
Yes.
I mean, if somebody steps in your life and they got all of this good stuff going on, and he looking like Blair or The Rock or whatever, and he's telling you all of this stuff and all of this, you need to slow your roll, calm yourself down, stabilize, get balanced, and start looking at the real thing.
Yes.
That when you call him sometimes, he's selective about when he answers. There's isolated times you can, and then when you call, you know what I'm saying? Oh, well, what's the problem? Oh, you did I disturb you? Yeah, you disturbed me because he was somebody else. But we look over all of these things, these indicators, and then, Raj, you said something so key. There's a root.
Yes.
There was a root on his side, and there was a root on your side. We have to look at where people come from.
Yes, absolutely.
We have to look at it.
We cannot ignore the facts, and we cannot ignore the signs.
Exactly.
Because God gives them to us all the time.
Yes.
And we keep walking past the signs, and then when we get caught up in it, then we're like, God, help us.
Yes.
And see, it was, I penned in the book, I was angry with God. I said some things to him that I should not have ever said, that I will go to my grave with regret for saying those things to God. But at the end of the day, I chose my ex-husband.
Yeah.
Nobody put a gun to my head. Nobody put a knife to my throat and said, you better marry him. I chose him, and I had to come to that realization that it was nobody's fault but mine. I did that, and it was nobody at that time who could have stopped me from marrying him, because I was going to marry him anyway.
Exactly.
Irregardless to the smack, irregardless to the stalking, I was going to marry him anyway.
Yes.
And so because I had to have my own way, I had to deal with that. Now, does God just leave you out there? No, because he loves me. So did he use that? Yes, he has used that to for me to pin the unloved wife. He has used that situation as I am currently writing The Making of a Prophet.
Yes.
He has used those situations and those 24 years of abuse to make me the woman that I am. And I promise you that I would not change a thing. And I had some horrid things happen to me in that relationship. I had some horrible things happen to me in that relationship. But I would not change not one of them. Why? Because it has made me the woman that I am today.
Yes.
And it caused me to meet the man that I am currently married to.
Yeah.
It took me from being an unloved wife to being a loved one. Hello,
Right,
somebody.
right.
From being a woman
Right.
that was not favored to being a favored wife.
That's beautiful.
You understand?
Yes.
You know, my current husband adores me.
Right.
And I know it. He doesn't
Right.
have a problem with showing it and
Right.
telling me on a regular basis. And I love him and I respect the man that he is. God gave me the real deal.
The real.
But I promise you, I can appreciate him more because I did not have the real deal
I understand.
initially.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate what I have now and I guard it with my life.
Yes.
You know, I was teasing him about my sister-in-law was introducing him to a woman that kept her eyes a little bit. I'm standing right next to her.
Right.
She didn't see me.
Right.
She had her eyes just a little too lingered on him.
Right.
I wanted to say, excuse me, hello, and here's the wife right here. Listen, y'all want to stir something in this prophetess? No, y'all ain't gonna stir it in the
Leave
prophetess
alone.
because the prophetess is cool. Y'all want to stir something in Rise?
Right.
I ain't that
right.
one.
Right.
Hello.
Exactly.
And so what we have to understand is that when we choose at our own will and our own way as opposed to God's best for us, then we got to suffer sometimes.
Yes.
You know, we have to endure sometimes.
Yes.
Did God give me grace? Yes, he did. Did God give me mercy? Yes, he did. Did God save my life? Yes, he did. But I had some painful days.
Right.
I had some pain. When you don't want to go home, home is supposed to be a place of solace, a place of peace, you know, a place of comfort. And I would cry. I'm talking about tears streaming down my face as I went across Northfield Road to my house.
Yes.
And I would pull in the driveway sometimes, crying out to God, beating the steering wheel, saying, God, help me.
Yes.
I don't want to go in that place. And then I would get myself together and dry my eyes so my boys wouldn't see it. And walk in and say, hey, everybody.
Right.
When you stand in Walmart, you know, we had a 24-hour Walmart, and you stand in Walmart and walking around Walmart after you have made your selection because you don't want to go home. You just going around the store aimlessly because you don't want to go in that environment. That is because you are not supposed to be in that environment.
Exactly. And you were so, you didn't want to encounter the emotional abuse. Sometimes even your book talks about the physical abuse, the sexual abuse, all of those things. But you know what? The first chapter, you named it The Decision. And that's what, if anything, we're trying to avoid right now. Whoever that sister is and that brother, that you are in the throes of making a decision. You have not made a permanent decision, you know. And then for us as believers, we make decisions to get married, and it's covenant.
Yes.
And so then once we make that covenant, we put another person, God is in there.
Yes.
So then we don't want to disappoint God. So we take stuff too long and we endure stuff because we feel we're doing it as unto the Lord. The Lord calls it marriage and not martyrdom.
Oh,
We are
my,
not,
say it again.
Right, it's marriage and not martyrdom.
Yeah.
And so we should make good decisions. But it's just like, listen, sweetie, I bought some stuff that I thought in the store was the bomb. Tried it on everything. And then I get home and I said, what was I thinking about?
Right.
Or you wear it and you find out it's uncomfortable.
Right.
And so it is. I know that's trivializing marriage, but, you know, and then I put that thing up and go about my business.
Yes.
And then eventually I might find the thing that is just what I've been looking for.
Yes.
or not. Maybe I get that out of my system.
Yes.
You know, I don't wear above the knee stuff. Okay, maybe I bought something one time and I found out, that's not a good look.
Yes.
So I got it out of my system.
Yes.
And so what the thing of it is some things in our lives, we make bad decisions.
Yes.
But, you know, and I've heard somebody that was in a bad situation say, Lord, how long do we have to live out a bad decision?
Wow.
Well, you don't live it out until the police have to come and take you out in a body bag.
You don't do that.
No.
Because, see, that almost was me.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
I talk about it in my book, like I said, the decision. I talk about my childhood.
Yes.
I talk about the war within and the war without. That's
Yes.
one of the chapters. Because I had a fight going on in the inside of me as well as on the outside of me. Because here I am, a leader in the Lord's house.
Yeah.
Here I am telling people about all the wonderful things that God can do. And then I'm going back home to this mess.
Yes.
And then I'm saying, in terms of ministry, I knew I was called. I knew it was on me. I knew it was in me. It was no doubt about that. But I didn't want to walk in it because I'm like, how am I going to tell these people about Jesus loves and Jesus forgives and Jesus heals, and then I got to go back to hell?
Right.
How am I going to tell people about marriage and God's relationship with the church is in Christ's relationship with the church is like marriage, and then I'm going home to an abusive relationship. And see, it was all of those things that I was torn with. I was torn with the fact that why I did not leave this man when I should have.
Yeah.
I should have left him the first time that I ran out my house in the middle of the night in a night shirt with nothing up under it,
Right.
running down the street, hiding behind the bushes, oh Jesus, of my neighbor's yard because he was coming after me. I should have left then. I left for a few days, but I came back. What you understand?
Yes.
Because see, at that point, he was like, okay, I'm going to go to
Right.
a counselor. I'm going to see a counselor privately for myself. We're going to see a counselor as a family and all of that.
Yes.
And that lasted for about 2 weeks, 3 at the most.
Yeah.
And then it was back to the regular. And I told someone the other day who it was in the divorce stage. She was going to actually go and sign her divorce papers.
Mm-hmm.
And she was going to sign her divorce papers. He is laughing at me. I have to fix that. She was going to sign her divorce papers, and she was feeling some kind of way. And I told her, I said, sweetheart, I said, I'm gonna tell you like I had to discover for myself. I learned to function in dysfunction.
Yes.
I was in dysfunction, but I learned how to function in it.
Yes.
I said, and because that's all you've known, you're feeling some type of way, and
Yes.
that's okay.
Yes.
And because that's all we've known, we think, well, it ain't so bad. I had when I would reach out to people, I had women say to me, "Was he cheating on you?" No. Well, do he bring his money home? Well, yeah. Well, then, girl, you all right. But when you no, you're not, because he's not cheating on you,
Right.
and because he brings his money home, well, so what? When you're standing there in the kitchen next to the man that's supposed to love you, and he's pouring himself a glass of water, and you slide your glass over, and you say, "Can you pour me some too?" And he puts the pitcher down and say, "Pour it yourself." You care that the money coming home and he ain't cheating?
Right.
You cannot pour me a glass of water when you are pouring one for yourself.
And if you're going to be in a union and you start talking about doing everything yourself, you might as well stay single. And that's why the country singers make songs like Sleeping Single in a Double
my
Bed
God.
and that kind of thing. People do not know. And here's the thing, too. Two things I want to ask you. One is, did not these incidents and the status of your life at that time, did not it attack your faith in God?
Oh,
Did it not tear down your
yes,
faith in God?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember saying to God, I remember going upstairs in my and I say this in the book, I'm very candid, I'm very transparent. Going in my boy's bedroom, and I put my face in their pillows, and I was screaming and crying in the pillow. And I remember saying to God, you couldn't love me. You see what this man is doing to your daughter. You are not my father. You could not be a father, because there's not a natural father on the earth that would watch their daughter being abused and do nothing. And you're doing nothing to him. I charged God foolishly. I did. Yes, it did. Because here I am. What did you do? I prayed for the man. Oh, did you fast for the man? This can't come out by fasting and prayer. Yes, I fasted. I should have been eating chicken and greens and macaroni and cheese and cornbread and cakes and pies. I should have been eating everything I wanted to. Because listen here, there are demons that come out by fasting and praying, but those people got to want those demons to come out.
Absolutely.
This man didn't want it. He did not want it. I did everything. I went to him. I said, you know what? It's all my fault. Reason why our relationship is so messed up. Reason why our marriage is so bad. It's all my fault. I'm not doing all I could. I need to be doing more. I need to be a better wife to you and all of that. He looked me in my eyes like, you right. When I tell you, I never got an apology. I would stand before him and talk to him for, I'm talking about hours sometimes, to try to show him what you did to me.
Right.
And still, I was trying to pull an apology out of somebody that should have known what you did.
But the abuser doesn't know. They don't know. Oh,
it was
don't
wasting
wanna
time.
know.
We was
They
wasting
don't
time.
want to know.
They don't want.
That's it. They just shut down truth. So, and that's the spirit of the devil.
Yes.
Because the devil dwells in untruth. He's a liar from the beginning. And so he causes people to mask who they really are.
Yes.
And unfortunately, there's people like that in the body of Christ. And just like you had both sides of it, prophetess. You had the abuse physically, and then it escalated to near death.
Yes.
And then you also had the abuse emotionally. And they both are just as bad.
Yes, they are.
I mean, people, especially strong women, I say this to my strong sisters out there, because men can't easily control women who are resilient, women who are resourceful and creative, they will find ways to control them.
Absolutely.
They will withhold their love, they'll withhold their kindness, they'll withhold their support.
Absolutely.
And like you say, the little subtleties that somebody else will tell you, girl, you can deal with that. My mama went through that same thing. My daddy never did this. Well, you lived in dysfunction. Your mama lived in dysfunction. Your auntie and them.
Yeah.
So, but that don't mean I got to be the generation
go.
that perpetuates dysfunction.
Yes, absolutely.
And you don't have to do that. You don't have to. Abuse, and we're concerned for all of that. And that's why it's so much women's ministry.
Yes.
I say, we need to bring the brothers into some of these sessions.
Yes, I agree.
Because they need healing. They need healing. And, they may not know, but the church has spent all of this time telling us how to submit, how to do this and that. And I want to say something to anybody. You look at Prophetess Roz and you may say, oh, she dressed up, she prophesied, she got it going. But listen, this is a woman. Listen, we always talk about it. She borders on OCD. I mean, we were leaving the other night decorating a wedding. And she was talking about she was going home to clean up. Honey, I'm going home to fall out. I ain't going home to clean up nothing. And she talking about she got to go home and clean, because this is every week. Her house, now that's the house you can eat off the floor. The house is always smelling good. The dinners whose husband say, I want a coconut cake? And then you go get a recipe and does all this stuff. These are the things that she's done. And I mean, and when the real of it is that nobody does everything right. I mean, there's times that you get angry,
of course,
and you say all kind of things. And I thank God for the Holy Ghost, because I know my weaponry is my mouth. Mm-hmm. And then there are some of you sisters who you do say something, but I don't care what your mouth say. You don't deserve to be chastised like you a little kid.
That's right.
Because our kids need to be hit in the mouth.
Yes.
And even with that, we refrain from it.
Yes.
But nobody's raising you. You don't need to be hit in the mouth, knocked down, all that. Those days is over.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
And that I deserve it mentality We need to stop that.
Oh my God, please.
Stop
no
it.
one deserves
Exactly.
to be abused.
Exactly.
God put us on a planet to be loved.
Absolutely.
You know, marriage was his idea.
Yes.
A man leaves his father and mother and cleaves to his wife, and they become one flesh. It was his idea for us to. It was not good for man to be alone.
Yes.
God is the one that said you need a companion.
Yes.
It was him.
Yes.
And so you're not supposed to abuse the companion, be it male or female. Women, you're not supposed to abuse the man's love.
Yes.
I've seen women. I know men that are givers, that love their wife, and women just taking it and saying anything they want to say to
Right.
the man and treating them bad
Right.
and all that kind of stuff like that. And he's just praying it through and trying to be the best husband that he can be. This woman needs her behind whooped. That's
Yes.
what I say.
Yes.
Because listen here,
Right.
you abusing a man that's trying to love you.
Right.
I used to say it all the time. I would see women abusing a man that's giving their all to him. And I'm sitting up here begging a man.
Right.
And I remember begging my ex-husband, begging him. I remember the day I stopped. Because see, listen here. I don't have to beg a man. I
Right.
just don't have to.
Right.
I just don't have to. But
Right.
I was begging him.
Right.
And I remember him sitting on, and I pinned this in the book as well. I remember him sitting on the end of the bed. And we were talking, and I was asking him to go somewhere or do something. And I was begging him with tears in my eyes. And he was, no, I ain't doing it. Da, 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 da. Anything that I loved, he hated. I don't care if I looked up at the sky and said, ooh, it's a beautiful day. It's not a cloud in the sky. He would find one 6 miles away.
Yeah.
Just to oppose anything that I loved.
Yes.
And so I remember walking out of our bedroom. And soon as I stepped into the hallway, ding, 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 the light bulb came on. I turned around and I got in his face. He was sitting there, he was watching TV. And I stood in front of the TV. And I said, look at me. I said, look at me. He's looking past me because he don't want to look. I gently took his face and I moved it. I said, look at me. I said to him, I said, I'm not the prettiest peach on the tree, neither am I the ugliest. I said, I do not have to beg a man to do anything with me or for me. I said, and I will never beg you again. That was the last day.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last day.
Yeah.
That was the last time. I'm begging a man. What I got to beg a man for?
Right.
Listen, I do not have to do that. And I refuse to do that with my own husband.
Right.
That's insane. You begging somebody to love you. You begging somebody to go to the movies with you. When you find, listen, here go a tell all side. I'm going to give y'all one. I remember we had this day plan. We had it planned for weeks. My father and his wife were taking my two youngest sons to the circus. Mm-hmm. And my oldest son was going somewhere with his friends. And so this was all pre-planned. And so the movie Holiday with is something Holiday. With,
I know exactly what you're saying.
With
yeah.
LL Cool J and Queen Latifah. So we were supposed to go see that. We were dropping the boys off, and we were going to Severance to the movies. The day of, he would just find anything so we can argue because he didn't want to go. Mm-hmm. So he got up that morning, and whatever the case may be, he found something, and he said he was not going. Mm-hmm. So, of course, I got to take my boys. I took my boys. I went to the movies. While I was there, when the movies was over with, it was cold, it was snowing, the whole bit. I reclined the chair. I pulled my coat up on me, the whole nine. Enjoyed the movie. When the movie was over, I saw some leaders that are leaders in our church. Mm-hmm. And they saw me at the movies. And the husband and the wife, they went to the movies because that's what husband and wives do. And when they saw me, they was like, hey. I was like, hey, how y'all doing? How you doing? And they was like, who you here with? I said, by myself. They was like, oh, your husband didn't come. I was like, he didn't want to come. Nobody questioned that. When you find a wife at the movies by herself, yeah. When you find a wife eating alone, I'd gone out to dinner. That particular day, I was at the Outback ordering my food, sitting at the table by myself until my children were done with the circus.
Yes.
Okay? I have gone everywhere. When you have events at church,
Yeah.
and the wife is always there. And I'm not saying that, we have exceptions to that rule. You may have a husband with health issues or whatever the case, working, whatever the case
Right.
may be. Because my ex-husband worked a lot initially. So when I would go places, where he's at, he was at work because he was. And then when all of that flipped and he wasn't at work, people were like, where y'all? He at work? No, he's not at work. That's what I would say. And then at one point, I got to the place where saying, well, where he at? Why he's not here? Because he ain't want to come. I stopped covering for that.
Yeah.
And when you find a woman that is married and she is at every event by herself, and then I'm gonna tell you something else I stopped doing. We went to every single marriage counseling, conference, get together, fellowship, you name it. We had the best. We had Louis Greenup, Apostle Louis Greenup with Weekend for Winners. We were there every year. And all of that teaching, all of that instruction, all of that love, all of that rededication, all of that renewal of the vows, all of that lasts about 7 or 8 days at my house. Right. It went right back to normal. To my dysfunction, it did not last. So towards the end of our relationship, I stopped going. People's like, why you ain't come to the fellowship? For what? Yeah. I'm tired of that. Nothing is working. I've prayed. I've fasted. I've been nice. I've been kind. I've given. I've done everything known to man. And nothing has changed this behavior towards me. Now I'm not doing nothing. Did I do some stuff? Most certainly. It takes two in every relationship.
Right. One of our good brothers, friends, pastor, is asking a question. He came in late on the broadcast about what did you miss when you were dating. Some of that is evident. And then some of it, like you revealed to us before, it doesn't come up till later. We need for our brothers to really be communicated to and with.
Yes.
We really do. We really need our brothers to step up their game. Our sisters are being abused in record-breaking numbers. What do you think is happening with these wives that these exposés are coming out that these husbands have had deviant behavior? What about, and there as many wives as we've got with these exposures coming, we've got something that is a phenomenon that is deeper and is as great as being cheated on, and it's being cheated out.
Oh.
We've got women that are being abused by their being cheated out of the intimate exchange that should be in a marriage.
That's real good.
Your greatest cheerleader should be your mate.
Yes.
But when you have somebody who's not secure in themselves, who has grown up with criticism or finds it more easy to give it, or feels like it's taking something from them to give it, that's a form of abuse as well.
Yes.
And these are things that should not be in the Christian community.
Yes.
Now I'm going to say something that I know I'm going to have to apologize for, and I'm glad our engineer has put up our little editorial statement. But here's the thing. I say this all the time. I've said it to my husband. I know my dear friend on the line today is going to also jump in on this. But I'm going to tell you what I'm tired of. I was one who was a dedicated follower of Moody Broadcasting for many years and have heard a multiplicity of broadcasts about, these brothers saying, when I wasn't treating my wife right, I read this scripture or the word came to me and it broke my heart and I apologized, and the word made me, it changed me. And I see these men crying out, and they got these broadcasts about renewed love, and I see our black brothers putting on a suit and going to church and saying, I'm a man of God.
Wow. Well,
I'm not going to drop Larry's mic, but that's where I'm at.
Right.
We've got to change that dynamic.
Yeah.
We've got to change it, and I'm not just saying, I'm not trying to bring in just, a prejudicial, discriminatory statement. I'm just saying that's what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And I'm praying that the younger generation of our young men, I do see the dynamic changing with our young generation, especially those, and unfortunately, it exists in the church where there's the most charisma or the most pneuma or the most, outpouring of the Spirit. we see so much abuse.
Yes.
Like you talked about, and even in your book, and I think we've said how your husband was a demonstrative worshiper.
Yes.
You come and he be the loudest
hallelujah in the church.
All right.
And the loudest speaking in tongues in the church.
And maybe he was speaking louder over the Holy Spirit that was telling you lousy.
Yeah, for real.
You know,
you just lousy.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But the women we're trained to get on that altar.
My.
We on that altar Friday night, Wednesday, whatever, crying out to God, change me, make me better, Lord, make me a good wife, make me, all this kind of stuff. It's time for that to flip.
Yes.
Because the man is the head.
Yes.
My pastor, who is my dad, said this years ago. He said that the woman gets her response cue from the man.
Yes, that's good.
So now there are some women out there that just act the fool.
Yes.
Okay? But there's some women out there that's so hurt. They're so needy.
Yes.
They're so unloved until they just, the bitter is producing the bitter.
Yeah.
And nothing but bitter water just flowing. It's just exchange of bitter water because they're not having their needs met. Yes. They're not having their love language. And you talked about God, prophetess. You said God gives. He gives sacrificially.
Yes, he does.
His only.
Yes.
And until we in our relationships, it takes a sacrifice. If a man has a propensity to fight, you go get some help.
Yes.
Go get some help and find and give, put your whole history or whatever on the altar.
Yes.
Sacrificially.
Yes.
You know, transform it so you can have a transformation.
Yes.
By the renewing of your mind.
My mind.
For you end up in the same situation that this brother is, because as a brother, as people that loved you and know you, it was hard for us to see this brother. Now you engaged in the penal system.
Yes.
Because it was easier for you to just go bugaboo crazy.
Yes.
Than to love your wife.
Than to love your wife. And you had a wife that took you back numerous times from abuse, overlooked, took down, tried to do everything humanly possible, and you just spit on her.
Yes.
You know, that's just the bottom line. And so when I finally asked for a divorce, because for me, I'm real honest. I try to keep, some people saying come behind them, man going in front of me.
I got you.
Because I'm the confessor.
I got you.
So I'm real honest. You don't have to guess with me.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you.
Yes.
And if you guess and ask me, because I'm going to tell you the truth.
Right.
And with him, I told him, I said, I'm going to leave you. I am going to leave you when our youngest son graduates the 12th grade. Mm-hmm. And I would say to him, I'm going to knock Ramel down. While he's getting his diploma on the stage, I'm going to knock him down getting away from you. Yeah. And I meant that. Yeah. Because it was so hard. I just felt like I needed to be there because these boys did not ask to come here. And I felt like they needed their father until the end of it. And I can endure this with all this, okay?
Yes.
And God would just give me the grace. Well, a chain of events happened. And you all have to get the book to read it because everything was supernatural, from me crying out to God and asking him to, if only I had my mother here, this wouldn't be so bad, to if I just could get a hug from my mother, to God allowing my mother to show up in one of the mothers at the church's dream. And the week that I said that, she comes up to me that Sunday and says, your mother has been disturbing my dreams. She said, and I am here to give you a hug from her. Yes. Supernatural things happen. Yes. And then as I went out on that floor, because I cried till they had to lead a deacon and deaconess with me because I was no more good, I cried out. And while I cried out on that floor, God said to me, you have cried your last tear over this. Yes. And then the very next day when I got in the car and turned on my radio, there is a Mary Mary song playing, you cried your last tear yesterday. God released me from my marriage. He did that. And so when I asked I didn't know when I was going to leave. I didn't know how I was going to leave. I didn't know what was going to occur. But when I asked him for a divorce, it was because my best friend passed away on his birthday. And she put she was a poet, Rita Marie Moore, and she put on her last poem. They put it on her obituary, and it is a line in that poem that has nothing to do with the poem. And it said this: I have a family, but I have an unhappy home. And when I heard that, our tears were streaming down my eyes with my eyes closed. I raised up, and out of my mouth, I thought I just had thought it in my head, but it came out of my mouth. I said, those will not be the last words anybody hear from me. Yeah. And I asked him for a divorce about a week or so later. And, you know, he told me, you know, talked about this undying love that he had for me and all of that, but I never saw that. I did not believe it. Yeah. I knew that he loved the things that I did. Mm-hmm. And I told him, yeah, I would love me too. Everybody need a ride.
Right.
Everybody need a ride. Right. You know, you paying all the bills and you you ain't never wrote a check, right. But you got an 811 credit score. You need a rise. Yeah. Hello. Yes. You got a clean house. You got right. food from scratch. You know, I ain't pouring it out the can and, right. and out the box. I'm making it from scratch. Your clothes is clean. Your house is clean. Your children are cared for. I need a rise too. Yes. You didn't love me. You loved the things that I did for
right.
you.
Right.
You didn't love who I was.
Right.
And so just a whole bunch of things transpired. He definitely asked, he definitely cried, he definitely said he was going to do right, but I did not believe that. And soon as I said, nope, I'm done, it's nothing that you can do or say that will make me change my mind, he tried to kill me 3 times within a 60-day period of time. And I'm not saying tried to kill me, push me down on the floor. I'm telling you, literally tried to kill me by strangling me, by hitting me with a car, and when God miraculously delivered me from that, he jumped in his car and tried to ram a fence to come after me. The very steel fence that God raised for me to crawl up under. Y'all got to get the book. It's called The Unloved Wife. Right. I tell you, this book here, this story of mine, I promise you, you're going to see it on TV. Right. If you don't see it on Lifetime, you're gonna pay some money to go see it in the movies. Right. It is an incredible story. And every single solitary word is the truth. I did not embellish. And I used to tell him when God gave me the title of The Unloved Wife, I talk about that as well. I give you the scriptures where it came from. I used to tell him, you giving me so much stuff for the book, I ain't got to embellish.
No.
Because God was writing a story so you women can look at me and look at my story and don't have to be an unloved wife. Right. You do not have to be an unloved girlfriend. You do not have to be an unloved wife. You do not have to be an unloved person, because God, that is not his best for you. That is not his intention for you at all. Yes. It's not at all. Yes. I thank you so very much for tuning in today just to hear a little bit of my story. You can purchase the book at www.propheticvoiceministries.org. We will put it in the mail to you as soon as you purchase it. You can inbox me. You can get in touch with me. I talk to women all of the time. I am, again, transparent. I don't claim to know it all, but I definitely know enough. And I have experience to back it up. Yes. And so I'm asking you guys to share it, to share it, to share it. This right here, this particular God and Everything needs to go viral. And you guys can help me make that happen. Until next week, we will be right here. Support the broadcast by sewing $5. Look for me this evening, because I will be doing a paparazzi live Facebook. And join us again next week for God and Everything at 5 o'clock p.m. We will be here. We love you. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye. Peace.
My name is Prophetess Roz, and you may know me from God and Everything. I am recently a consultant for paparazzi jewelry, and I am here to tell you a little bit about it. Our jewelry is $5. Yes, that's right, only $5.